There you go.
I feel like it's a buzzer beater, you know. Hold on. You know that. Okay. All right, we're live. We're live.
And we're
And I'm
live.
still-
Welcome, everybody. Hello.
And we're live.
We're with, hello, I'm Michael Melvin, and we're with
Hello.
TaMyra TK Henderson here. And she's at our special location. We like to let everybody know, hey, how you doing out there? How your mama and them?
I'm like,
We're out here.
oh, this girl got.
I'll tell you, that's fun though. Like, that's
no,
fun
somebody
stuff
just texted
though.
me talking about I've been sick. I
Who?
have COVID.
Who? Oh, we can't tell people's business. We online.
A friend of mine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because,
I know
there's
I can't
HIPAA
tell
laws.
you who. You don't know him anyway, but
There's HIPAA laws to
I
this.
have a delay.
You have a delay?
I have a delay.
A little slight delay, yeah. Are you wired in?
Yeah, I can. Yep,
Oh, well.
I can see it.
It's slow. It's like,
Oh yeah.
well, no, it's not just you, because I got a message that the internet connection is acting wonky. So it might be all around.
Okay.
We all might be going through something. Everybody's internet somewhere is like, well,
Yeah,
today,
because now it's all fuzzy.
yeah. Oh, here he is. Let's
You
get
guys
the
are
show
fuzzy
on
today.
the road. We are fuzzy wuzzy. Let's bring him in. Put him in. He is guest 2. So let's get this. Uh-oh. There we go.
I think I want to.
Yeah,
I cannot see.
What's up, James? How we doing today, sir? We are on live already. We're getting started. If you want, you can turn your phone this way. I can zoom you in. If you got it set on something, I can zoom you in. And that's the beauty of this stuff right here.
Yeah.
There we go.
How's that?
That's good. Don't worry. Everybody's internet's acting real wonky today. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
My internet is actually out. I don't know what's going on.
See, we all going through something with the internet right there. I'm telling you, it's
Yeah, and we're in different. We're in all different locations because mine is and I'm hardwired in, so I don't know what mine is doing.
well. James is actually in the DMV, so he's in my area.
Okay.
So let me do this, James. Can you turn your phone horizontal? Are you able to do that?
Hold on. Yeah.
Let's see if it does that name adjustment right. If it's horizontal. Good morning,
Hey,
Charming
good morning.
Reed. How you doing today?
Charming Red.
Oh, is it Red? I'm sorry, Charming Red.
All right, give me just a second. We're having some technical stuff.
It happens. We were talking earlier. They messed up my food at the. I was like, man, I got a show to do.
That's gonna be That's gonna. That's gotta be it's like Groundhog Saturday.
Oh, he got the Dutch angle.
It really is. I do Zoom stuff all the time, and my hotspot, I guess, is not strong enough for me to run my computer on for this. So I gotta figure out a way to put this phone somewhere.
Oh, there you go.
Are we seeing a delay with me?
Not really. You're good on my end. So you're good on my end.
Yeah, I'm the one with the delay. Yeah, you're good.
This is the fun stuff on the show right here.
Whoops.
Uh-oh.
Hold
yeah,
on.
I know those moments.
Trying to see if I can balance my phone. Come on. Okay, we got all kind of jury rig stuff going on right now.
I know those moments. The trick is
oh my goodness.
Yeah, the trick is put the phone on books and put a book behind the phone and it keeps it up.
Yeah, how's that?
Yeah, that's good.
that's the trick.
Yeah, that's how you
Okay.
get that balance. Good morning,
Hey,
JD.
JD, that's a gym.
Good
That's a
morning.
gym right there.
It's balancing on my water bottle.
Oh, see, there you go. You always put something behind it. Yeah.
Hey, whatever works.
Good morning, everybody.
Whatever works. Good morning. Good morning.
Oh, we got it. Okay, so as you can see, we have all had technical difficulties this morning. My technical difficulty happened with my food.
My technical difficulty was I guess 'cause I just went to sleep. So that must and then the delay. So I have two today.
Oh, yeah.
So I just went
Oh,
to sleep and then the delay.
yeah, because you're on set.
Yeah, it was good.
It was good. I know you can't tell us what
Yeah,
you were filming.
It was a Stars TV show I was doing background. And literally it's a studio that I've been to before.
Mm-hmm.
When I say it's a half a mile from my house, it's a half a mile from my house.
Oh, really?
Wow.
That's good stuff.
Yes, you can't beat that, especially after 14 hours on set. Like you can't beat it at all. It was 13.2, not including lunch. 14 with lunch, but yes. So it was good. It was good. It was cool though.
Oh,
It's interesting watching everybody complain after they signed up for 12 hours. It's like 12 for, whatever they tell you. And then everybody's like, oh my God. I'm like, so anyway,
wow.
But it was good. It was good.
So let's do this. Let's get the show on the road. Let's make this happen.
Show on the road.
Oops, I gotta make sure it's ready to go. I didn't even do that one part.
JD is in here waiting on us.
Yep. Uh-oh.
Good.
Hey, welcome. Good morning to the Black Filmmakers Lounge, Saturday morning in the independent talk shop. I'm your host, Michael Melvin, with my host, TaMyra TK Henderson. And today we have a special guest, James Lewis. James Lewis is an actor, voice actor, and he also runs the Talktime production. Is that right? Talktime Productions.
Right.
And he's out of my area in the DMV. So yeah. And we like to definitely welcome. We're going to introduce him again anyway, but we just let you know who's on the show with us. But you're watching the Black Filmmakers Lounge Saturday morning in the industry Shoptalk. And so we just want to let you know the Black Filmmakers Lounge is where independent filmmakers, whether novice or professionals, come together to gain insight and perspective through education, information, networking, and to discuss industry best practices that will advance the Black independent film community. So we'd like to thank each and every one of you guys for joining us today, and we're going to make this happen. Let's get the show on the road. Let's have some fun. Hey. Thank you, Mr. James Lewis, for joining us today. So we are.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. How are you? Good morning.
We are doing
Let me
pretty
move over and into the camera. There we go. There we go. Hi.
There you go.
How's it going? Yeah. It
Pretty
is good to
Pretty
have
good.
you. It is good to have you on the show. Because I will
Thanks
say,
for having me.
I followed you since 2009 on Facebook. And I remember you posting your books, that you do audiobooks, that you, the acting, you do a lot of voiceovers. And we actually had, unfortunately, we had a friend that passed in common. And a few years ago, she passed. And
yes.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I love seeing my people in the DMV when they're making stuff happen. And man, and I watched you on Monday night. And I was like, oh, that's James right there. He's the judge.
Yeah.
So it's an honor to have you here. And You know, I don't get to talk to people much because everybody's grinding busy and stuff, but it's good to have a fellow DMV, and you're a Howard University alumni as well.
That's correct.
See, there you go. There's some Howard people right there. My best friend went to Howard. I almost went to Howard. Then Bowie, they told me they couldn't take all my credits from my associates, so I had to go to Bowie.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, Howard was going to put me through almost another 4 years.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, they were like, well, you'll have to take this class. I said, I have an associate's degree. Like, oh, we're a private school. I know you are.
In other words, we don't care.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So thank you for coming on the show. And it's going to be a wonderful show. Let's start off with our first segment of the show, because what we normally talk about is what are you watching? Or what are you watching this week? What have you been looking at? Shows, movies?
Well, you know, one of the biggest complaints from casting directors is that actors aren't familiar with shows that they're trying to get on. So I know I've got a few shows I've got some auditions for that I'm trying to go back and watch that I haven't watched. One is New Amsterdam. I think that's on NBC. And from a personal standpoint, my DVR is so full of shows that I'm supposed to be watching that I haven't watched. I'm a big superhero fan, you know that. So I've got full seasons of stuff that I need to go back and watch. Black Lightning, Flash, Supergirl, Batwoman. But lately I've been watching Star Trek Picard.
Okay.
I really enjoy that. Just finished Bel Air, which is a phenomenal show. If people aren't watching it, you need to be watching it. What else? I did The Game on Paramount Plus.
Okay, the new season, yeah.
They re-released it again, and it's really, really good. And what else?
It's better than BET.
Yeah,
the BET version.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness, yeah. And what else have I been watching? I just finished watching Power Force.
Okay.
With Tommy.
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah. Tommy is a beast, man. Tommy is a beast. And what else? What else? Just a bunch of stuff.
So you got some time to catch some stuff. Huh?
You know what? I can't keep up. So it's like, there are some things that I must watch. So if I get an hour during the day, I will, sit down with a meal and, I catch an hour of this and then go back to working. So, and then there are times, if I'm on set or something like that and I've got time to kill, I just stream it on my phone. I'll watch whatever I want to watch on my phone.
Okay. Yeah, man, I do that sometimes if I got a downtime at work or, I don't know, just whatever I can, because I like to catch some things, but I don't get to stream as much. I think I've been binging YouTube. Strangely enough, I spent a lot of time
binging YouTube.
They have some really good content on YouTube. I know, I probably have about 250 files that I've saved to watch later. They've got some good original content that's on there. If you Cobra Kai, which is the continuation of the Karate Kid story, started on YouTube before it was picked up. I can't remember what.
Netflix, yeah.
So it was streaming. Yeah, so they've got some great original content that they're showing, and of course, it's a place where people can go produce their own content and show it, and build a following. So, from a medium standpoint, it's really a great resource for new filmmakers and new producers, to really get in and show their wares. I mean, Issa Rae, started
Mhm.
on YouTube. So, and look where she's at now.
Yeah, awkward black girl. And that's the amazing part
Mhm.
about the industry today. You, as independents, we actually can create whatever content we want. We're not limited as you might
Right.
be when you're dealing with a studio. You can make it tell the story the way you intend to tell the story. So you have a lot more power,
Mhm.
especially with
Mhm.
today's social media and the many platforms that are out there. You have
Yeah.
this ability.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just to be able, Raising Dion started out as, like a little short project pilot type thing, what was shown online.
It was a comic.
Two
Yeah, that was the
years, 3
trailer for
years
the
later.
comic book, and everybody thought it was going to be a movie.
Exactly. Right. And, you look at Bel Air. Bel Air was the same way,
Mm-hmm.
had a little trailer or something they had running online, and they got that buzz. And it's just great to see the creativity
Yeah.
that other people have who are outside of the industry, because we get tired of the
Mhm.
cookie cutter stuff. We get tired of stuff just being repackaged
Yep.
and given to us like this is the same old sitcom. This is and people have some really great ideas that they have never had the ability to present to a studio or to present to a network, and now they have the capabilities of creating their own project. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you're not casting me, you won't put me in XYZ, I'll just make my own. you know the producers, I don't know if you the show, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I don't know if you guys have ever watched that.
Mm-hmm.
But the guys
Yes.
who produced that show, they literally took a camera and filmed a little segment, a little clip, um, and they shopped it around. It cost them $200 to make that basically pilot.
Mm.
One camera, just that's the feel of the
Oh,
show.
wow.
Shopped it around. FX picked it up. They're in their 12th season now. You know,
Mm-hmm.
who would have thought? Who would have thunk that?
And that's awesome.
Wow.
It's unfortunate because you mentioned Raising Dion, which has just been canceled from Netflix.
I know. I know.
Oh.
Yeah, there's
I
no
know.
season 3, man.
It's a good show.
It's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
it's
It
a
was
good
getting
show.
good
I enjoyed it.
too. Like, come on, man. But okay.
Yeah.
But I know what it is. It's a Netflix money problem. That's the
It's
reality.
yeah, we know we
Yeah,
know
they have some
exactly what it
problems.
is.
Yeah, and the bad part of it, I own stock in Netflix. I'm not happy.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, because I'm sorry.
I am not happy. No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, but see, Netflix original problem was they spent a lot of money on their productions. Like they were
Right.
going
They
hard.
were just throwing money away.
Yeah.
Throwing money away.
And we were just
But
talking about,
they
go ahead,
didn't pay
TK.
writer residuals. That's the part I do know.
They
They
pay
didn't pay
writer
writer
residuals.
residuals. They didn't.
Oh, they didn't.
Netflix did not pay writer residuals.
Oh,
They did not. No.
well, that's a mistake. But I think a lot
Really?
I
of
looked it up. That's how I know. I
Were
looked it up.
they
I'm about to say, isn't that a platform issue altogether? Like
were
that's
they
been a big thing.
working?
Go ahead, James.
They do some they do some non-union stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and from an industry standpoint, this is where the Actors Union is so important. To have the proper contracts that are there to make sure talent is being compensated properly. Um, and getting their residual pay and things like that. And if you're putting on content that's non-union content and you're streaming it, which the union has been trying to crack down on, and I am by no means an expert on that, but it creates this hole, where you have talent that are working and they're not being compensated properly. You know, my likeness, when you're using
Mm-hmm.
it or if you're using it, I should be paid for that. If you're outside of the contract, the original contract that was established, I should be getting compensated for that. So,
Mm.
all these things factor in. I think the union was not ready for the expansion of streaming content, online content, the way that it has
Mm-hmm.
gone. The streaming entities are now producing original content instead of just taking content that was already made
Hmm.
and streaming it. They're producing it themselves. And
Right.
there were some loopholes in regards to what the union could do. So they've been playing catch up. They've been playing catch up.
Mm. And that's an interesting thing because
Wow.
independent
Yep.
filmmakers, their thing is they don't do a lot of union projects, um, which is
Hmm.
beneficial for them to start up because they usually don't have the money. But there
Hmm.
are, um, what people don't know, SAG has new contracts now for low budget for
Yep.
platform based content. So when you're
Exactly.
strictly now, they know you're going to put some on YouTube. They know you're putting something on things like
Mm-hmm.
Tubi, Netflix, stuff like that. So they've
Yep.
created new contracts for that.
Exactly. And that's much needed. Now the key is educating the public and getting it out there.
So like if you it's based on your budget. I think the problem is with some
Hmm.
filmmakers. We posted an article that was on No Film School where these guys did their own feature film, and they used the $600 Blackmagic camera. I think the total amount they spent to make the film was about
Mm-hmm.
$7,000. So
Hmm.
it was only three actors. They only had three actors in the project, um, or major. You know, and so I think that becomes the issue for the independent is how do I pay if I'm doing like ultra no or low budget films? How do I get a SAG actor involved? And we often tell people you got to look at points. If you start making some money,
Right.
you got to look at paying people off of points so that way it's viable to them to join in and say, hey, I'll do
And
this.
sometimes you can pick up union talent, at a bargain basement price,
Mm-hmm.
just because they want to be of the project. If it's something that they feel passionate about, if they feel that the production value is worth their time and energy, even though they're not going to get, their fee or their regular compensation, they'll be a part of it. It's we as actors, we as performers, sometimes we want to sink our teeth into something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, this role is just great. I just want to do it. You know, and all the time it's
Mm-hmm.
not about compensation. It's not about money. Then it becomes about the art. I just want to do this. I did an indie film maybe about 8 years ago. Um, and it was about homelessness in DC.
Okay.
And I respond to the casting, and I get there. The director, producer is there, and he's going through my resume and he's looking at my stuff, and he's like, man, I really want you to be a part of this project, but I can't afford you, you
Mm.
know. And I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't say you needed to pay me, don't worry about that. I'm like, I've got enough money. Don't worry about that. Take your budget that you have and pay the other people. Give the money to them. Okay. I'm good. I just want to
That's
be a part
awesome.
of this project.
Mm.
Yeah. So the project was called Mysterious Prison, and basically, I had a chance. I had a chance to be homeless. I was in a shelter. I was in the shelter right off of 14th Street, Union. It was a union shelter, and I slept with these guys. I ate with these
Mm.
guys. I prayed with these guys. I learned their stories. I learned why they do what they do. Everybody
Hmm.
thinks that someone who is homeless is, down and destitute. No, some guys
Mm-hmm.
choose to be homeless. They choose to live in the shelters. Um, I had a chance to go and panhandle on the
Hmm.
street, and ask for money. And I found out I was
Oh
actually
wow.
very good at it. So I know if I ever get in a situation where I am homeless, that I can make money on the street panhandling. Just letting you know.
Mm.
So, but it was a great film, and just to be able to stretch yourself as a performer. Um, and I remember, and it was kind of like, I mean, it was a drama, but it was
Hmm.
like it was telling our story. And I know when we had the
Mm.
screening, and people came up to meet me afterwards, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're doing much better, and that you've gotten yourself together." And I'm just like, I'm an actor. I wasn't really homeless, but they thought I was
I wasn't
really a,
really
a homeless
homeless. I was
person.
acting.
Yes, and the
Oh
cameras were following
wow.
me, and but anyway, it was a great film. Mysterious Prison.
Wow, definitely gotta check that out. Because it's interesting, but I kind of try to tell a lot of filmmakers that to find a cause that they can back and talk about in their films, because that's a good way
Yeah,
to get people on board. Actually, it's funny. TK was with Mike M. Legend Brown, and he did a film about homelessness. I remember that was like his first
Hmm.
film or something like that. TK,
That was his first film.
yeah,
Hmm.
and I remember
Yes.
that, and it was about a family living in their vehicle trying to survive, and
Hmm.
it's
And the
like
guy had a
those,
college degree and everything. Yeah.
mhm. And it's and
what? Yeah,
it's powerful. We can tell because you're right. There's different reasons why people are homeless. And so
right.
there's a plethora of movies you can make to help or to bring awareness to it, because there are vets who are
Hmm.
homeless because they had nowhere to live. They suffer from PTSD. They can't get their checks. They can't, and I'm like, there should never be a homeless vet anywhere, but it's how society treats people, and
Yeah,
it's
Mm.
escape for them in some ways,
yeah,
because they're not going to be
yeah.
treated right, and for all they've done.
Some
And
of them, some of them have, substance abuse problems, some form of mental illness, and they have intentionally decided that they don't want to be a burden to their family,
mhm.
Oh.
and I asked them, I'm like, do you have family? They're like, oh yeah, I got kids, I've got, well, why don't you go and stay with them? No, I don't want to be a burden to them. I drink, I do
Oh.
drugs, I do whatever. This is where I need to be. And I'm
Mm.
like, wow, and here's an interesting thing, and this is just to educate the public. People think that, you know, everybody who is homeless is hungry. The interesting thing about that whole I don't want to say industry, but the whole issue of homelessness is there are plenty of places to get food. There are plenty of places to get food.
Mm.
When they're asking for money, it's to pay for the essential things that they need: deodorant,
Mm.
Mhm.
paper, you know, toothbrush, toothpaste, feminine hygiene products. Those are the things that they need to buy, and they need money to do it. It's not always, oh, here's some food. I can get food. Shelters have food. You have a lot of halfway houses have food. churches are giving away food. They have people that come, to parks and places where the homeless congregate and give them food. So it's plenty of food. It's the other resources that they need. So when people are putting together, care packages for the homeless, that have, some socks in it and, some gloves and, toiletry items and so forth. Those are the things that, they can really use.
Okay.
That's good.
That's definitely good for a lot of us to know.
That's
because
good.
it's something, putting together care packages. Because I know people in Texas, when they weren't allowed to give them money anymore and get arrested in San Antonio. I don't know if it's the rest of Texas that did that, but I know San Antonio was like that. And so people put like, food packages together and things and hand them to them out the car instead of money, because then you can't get hit for the money thing.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. I used to keep a thing in my car for
That's
it
interesting.
when so real quick, TK, because we were talking about what you watching. So what were you watching, TK, this week?
I watched a few episodes of the PJs. I watched an episode of American Greed. I watched 2 episodes in the Heat of the Night, my favorite show. If everybody watching the show already know. And before I say the show that I really was watching this week, good morning, Tanya. Good morning, Michael, Yvonne. Good morning. Thank you so much.
Derek.
Brandon, what's up? I missed you last night because I was on set. Derek and Darrell, my cousin Darrell. He's my cousin, James, because we both kin to Randall on This Is Us. So we cousins on William's side. So Darrell is my cousin. And then Facebook user. You popped up again as Facebook user. We don't
could
have
be
your
coming
name.
from the group.
Put your name in the chat so we'll know.
They could be coming in from the group, from the Black Filmmakers Lounge group. Good morning, acting like Tanya.
Okay.
What's up?
So Facebook user, if you can put your name in there so we can turn. And then the show I've really been watching this week. Listen, Tanya put it in the chat one day, so I write down shows and stuff. And Made on Netflix.
Made.
Let me tell you guys. James, you're talking about going into another world.
That's the lady with the little girl.
Oh, it's Thomas.
Yes.
Thomas, yeah.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. And then I got to episode 7, so I need 8, 9, and 10. I have 3 more. But at the end of episode 7, guys, for filmmakers, listen, there is a scene. It's like a montage at the end of towards the end of scene 7. It freaking blew my mind. I don't know. It's like almost a regular montage, but it's something about the music and how they filmed it. I just want to go back and I just need like a clip of that scene stretch. Oh my God, it blew me a freaking way. I was like, oh my God. But the content itself is so good, pulling us into another world that we are not familiar with, and how people have to navigate through this world. It is so, oh my God, it's so good. Derek said he's watching Own the City.
Own This City. We Own This City.
HBO. That's James'
which, if
show.
you have been watching, you saw James on as the judge. I was going to be my segue, man, Derek. No, thank you, TK. What I watched this week, Moon Knight, because I got to watch my Marvel stuff. I've watched Halo. Okay, guys, you're gonna guilty pleasure. I'm telling you right now, 2.5 Men. When I get home from work, I have to watch something to laugh at. So
You've never told us that.
Yeah, 2.5 Men.
Wait a minute. 2.5 Men. Charlie Sheen or Ashton Kutcher?
Actually, so Paramount HD plays both. So they usually reverse it. So like now the first episodes you watch are with Ashton Kutcher, and then you'll watch like two to three episodes, and then it'll transition to the ones with Charlie Sheen, and it's kind of like a constant loop.
Oh.
So, but the Charlie Sheen ones are actually the funniest ones. The Ashton Kutcher ones are good. They're funny, but the Charlie Sheen ones are the funniest ones. So if you're not watching with Charlie Sheen, it ain't. Now, there was the final episode where they were seriously poking fun at Charlie Sheen and hitting him up, because he's like, you ever try anger management? He did, but it didn't work out. I mean, they are cold.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
And so, but yeah, I got to watch funny stuff. The other thing is for me was I've been watching Young Justice on HBO Max.
Yep.
And I've watched quite a few things. I watched the documentary on Michael Oscar Michaud just recently.
Oscar Michaud, I have to watch that.
It was a well done documentary. It was good. It was really actually good, and it was good to think about when it comes to independent filmmakers and how intelligent Oscar was and what he did. Like this guy bought land and built his home, and I mean stuff you didn't really just know. And it showed his fortitude, a type of person he was when he was a porter and all this. It's like, and so he had before he's making films, he had a lot of life in him and experiences that he could actually bring to the table and share. And just, living somewhere where he's the only black guy, it was powerful. And so, yeah, I watched a lot of stuff in a sense, but so, yeah, now what I did watch is We Own This City, which I live in the DMV area. I've been here, back and forth. I came back now 6 years ago, and pretty much actors. Lion Beckworth was a cop. If people don't know who Lion is, you'll see him in there. He's one of the cops trying to arrest a guy, and they decide to leave him and go about their business. Like, forget this. It was funny because a couple years back sat down in Columbia Mall, and Lion and I were just talking because I remember seeing him in another project that was done by, I know who it is because I talked to him and I just lost it right there. And he played a magician. So they were playing around with the black magic camera. So, to see it. And then when I saw James, I was like, oh, I see James right there, as the judge. And I was like, okay, because James has been in a lot of projects. So I'm going to use this moment to slightly transition because most recent is We Own This City. Then you did When We Try. You were in Ode to Rosa, right? And you've been in Captain America. You have an uncredited scene, I think, with in a Winter Soldier, House of Cards, because that was done in Baltimore. But I mean, you've done a lot of stuff like video games, audiobooks. I mean, you have voiced a lot. And we were just talking earlier because I remember when you were doing, I think it was Green Lantern, you showed your Green Lantern figure. And then we just talked this morning about my collection at the back because I remember the posting and I was like, I see, we're collectors. I mean, filmmakers collect. The two things I know about filmmakers is we collect, whether it's action figures, toys, or albums. And we teach. We are all teachers in some way, and that's the thing. If I'm like almost every single my mentor, everybody is the teacher, an educator in some fashion. So without further ado, we're going to talk to. We already been talking to Mr. James Lewis, but we are going to talk to James Lewis about doing what it is that he does and how we can inspire others who are looking forward to acting, doing voice acting talents. Because again, audiobooks, video games. What's up, TK? You got
Oh
some?
no, I was just want to. I was gonna. No, I was gonna say. I was holding up my finger to say I wanted to. I'm one that wants to get into voiceover, but I did want to acknowledge like what everybody else was watching before we switched it right over.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was
Go
it.
ahead.
So I really wasn't raising my hand. I was really
Oh,
just pointing, like bringing my
I
finger.
thought because
Oh,
you know, it looked
Brandon
like
said
the
he's been
church
watching
finger.
Brandon said he's been watching a horror season. Um, and watching the new season of Snowfall. And Brandon loves horror. All of his guests, if you guys haven't caught his podcast on Friday nights, he has a lot of horror actors and filmmakers and stuff on his podcast on Friday nights.
Oh
And
yeah,
now that
my
there was
boy on it
scandal,
last night.
Tanya said flight attendant Darrell.
Yeah, he had
I missed it because I was on set. Who?
Michael Perry on. Have you ever seen Eddie and the Cruisers? That was actually one of my favorite movies when I was young as a kid. Eddie and the Cruisers. And then it's a couple. He's been in quite a few movies, and I just always remembered him. But Eddie and the Cruisers was one of my favorite movies, and then he was in another movie. I can't. It's coming on the streets because there's a song called "I Can Dream About You." You know, I can dream about you. You know, yeah, and so Streets of Fire. And so, but that I mean, I remember music, man. Listen, if you know anything, everybody knows my favorite movie is Purple Rain. I mean, you know,
It's about the business.
this is a business. So, yeah, just having wonderful guests on,
Outer
Brandon.
Banks.
Thomas watched The
Darrell's
Accountant.
watching Outer Banks. Yeah, she's watching The Accountant. Darrell said flight attendant. I was wondering about that, Darrell. I was wondering about flight attendant. Brandon, The Godfather is a great documentary. He lost his wife, back in December, from a home invasion. But Clarence, his aunt, lost his wife. But The Black Godfather is an amazing documentary. That was really, really good.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yep, he lost his wife, and
But
but yeah, if you haven't seen The Black Godfather, the way he worked in all areas between politics and baseball to make things happen and move for people to get opportunities and stuff, it's really, really good. Things you don't, all that underhanded stuff you don't even know that's taking place. But he used his status and was able to help a lot of people. One of my clients, who's my godbrother now, he's like, yeah, he got me out of some trouble. I'm like, what? The Black Father got you out of some trouble?
Wow.
Like, what? So anyway, now go ahead, Michael.
So, like I said, James Lewis is joining us today, as you already know. You've been watching, and again, you've probably seen him in a lot of shows along a lot of other actors and doing what he is, but you probably don't even realize you've heard his voice in the video games you've been playing. And you don't even know, and that's beautiful, because as people wanting to be in the film industry think, so he's been in Elder Scrolls, right? Fallout 3, very popular games. You were on a Wire. I mean, it's just, James, your list is so, your list is so long.
He was Marvin on the Wire, guys. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, TK's been watching. She was busy watching The Wire, man. So again, you guys are seeing, and I noticed We Own the City has a lot of Wire alum on it or in it.
Yes. Yes.
Which is interesting, and they're playing opposite of what they played on The Wire, which is another thing. So
I know. That's so funny.
But so this is your chance. We're going to talk about acting. We're going to talk about doing voiceovers, because Yvonne, like she posted, she has 2 members of her nonprofit that need to get into voiceovers. But Yvonne hosts a nonprofit that's for writers, for authors. So again, I mean, as independents, this is the thing I keep trying to explain to people. There's so much you can do. And I think we don't often know what we don't know. Right. And so to have you as a guest today to help educate and inform is going to be a powerful time. So let's get this on the road. But I got to ask this question. What inspired you to get into acting and doing voiceovers?
Almost dying.
What?
I was very much in corporate America. I was working for an investment company. I was basically studying for my Series 6, my Series 7, my 63 license. I was managing a team of agents. You know, I was just grinding. I was grinding, and came down with a little respiratory thing. Didn't take time for myself,
Mm-hmm.
to get better. I'm in class. I get out of class at 4 o'clock. I come home. I eat something. I go into the office. I'm in the office till 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, come home, grab a couple hours of sleep, do it again, and it caught up with me. It caught up with me, and I have asthma. So not getting that respiratory thing taken care of, not getting enough rest, not getting, proper nourishment. I had the worst asthma attack of my life. And
Wow.
if not by the grace of God, I probably wouldn't be here right now. So my wife at the time was I couldn't even talk. I could not move enough air to actually speak. And I knew that she could not take me to the hospital because I couldn't make it to the car.
Okay.
So, I just grabbed the phone and dialed 911 and just handed it to her. And the paramedics were on their way, and they came in. And as they came in, my lungs collapsed,
Oh, wow.
and I stopped breathing.
Wow.
So I don't know what happened. It was 2 days before I regained consciousness. And I wake up in intensive care unit. I'm on a breathing machine. I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. I don't know what happened. And it was a life-changing event. And it sent me on this journey, you know. Now, they say when you have an NDE, a near-death experience, that it changes the frequency of your body. Every body has a vibrational frequency. Everything has a vibrational frequency, and they say it changes it. And I no longer wanted to be in that corporate environment. I was no longer chasing, that title of director and VP and CEO and all that kind of stuff for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that time was very precious to me, and I realized that I wanted to be doing what I wanted to do, but I didn't know what it was. So I had to go on this quest, and along this quest, I tried many different entrepreneurial endeavors. I sold African American artwork. I tried writing. I opened a martial arts school, but none of them fulfilled that desire that I had. And I was reading an issue of Black Enterprise magazine um, that featured Rodney Salisbury, and Rodney Salisbury is a phenomenal voice actor in LA. And at the time, he was doing the voice of Joe Robertson on the Spider-Man cartoon
Yep.
back in the 90s. And he was saying, yeah, I make $250,000 a year, and I work 8 hours a week.
Mm.
And I was like, I'll take half of that salary and I'll work 16 hours a week and I'll be happy. And that's what started me on the quest to become a voice actor. Originally, my goal was to work for the Library of Congress. as a voice talent because I knew that they did books for the visually impaired.
Mm.
And I felt that, that was a good government job, and, I can go and do this, and everything's copacetic. And lo and behold, I got the chance to audition for them, and out of hundreds of people, they actually selected me to come and work for them.
Oh wow.
And
Mm.
but when I got the job offer, I found out it wasn't what I thought it was going to be,
Mm.
which is it's not a government job. It's basically a contractor's job. And I think at the time they were paying about $6 an hour
Oh,
and
wow.
required a 20-hour a week commitment. And I was like, I can't live off that, you
Right.
know? And so I turned it down. I had been planning this for like 2 years. 2 years this has been my goal. So I turned this job down and literally went into a state of depression for 2 months
Mm.
because I didn't know what to do,
Mm.
you know. And lo and behold, I see a casting again for audiobook company, which winds up being the company that I do work for now, which is Graphic Audio. And
Mm.
I've been with them for almost 20 years now, and they pay quite a bit more than $6 an hour. So I was happy. I was happy with the deal. It was for profit entity, um, and
Mm.
and then and that just kind of snowballed everything. You know, Putting my foot into the acting. I never planned on being on camera. It
Okay.
was never the
Mm.
goal to be an on camera actor. It was just let me get a little experience doing some theater. Just so I can say I've done it and fill in the white space on my resume. And it just snowballed. It just, next thing I know, I got an agent, and then I'm doing commercials, and I'm doing industrials, and um, I'm doing all this on camera work. And it was 2 years probably before I booked my first voiceover gig, which was working for the Smithsonian Museum, reading letters from Civil War servicemen.
Mm.
And I did that for 4 hours a
Wow.
day for a week, and it was a phenomenal experience. So that's
Wow.
that's how I came into to doing voiceover.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Wow.
Like I'm sitting there
You
because
got to
Thank you for
pursue
sharing that.
you got to pursue your dream. And I tell people this, and I'm not knocking anybody who has a 9 to 5. You got to pay your bills. You got to take care of your family. You got to do what you need to do. But that doesn't mean that you can't pursue a dream. That doesn't mean that you can't, partake in something that you feel you are called to do. And I don't care if it's acting or baking cupcakes or, knitting or crocheting. If you have a skill or a talent, it is your duty to share that with the world. You know, you were given that skill or talent for a reason. And even though you got to deal with that 9 to 5, or go to the post office or customer service or whatever job you got, you still need to find time to share that with the world and doing something. The time that we live in right now, especially with online content, streaming services, TikTok, Instagram, is that you see the creativity that people have. I look at some videos on TikTok, and I'm blown away. I'm blown away at the production value. You're
Mm-hmm.
filming this on your phone, and just the skill that these people have, that you would never be able to see that, you know, if this medium didn't exist.
Right.
I'm just blown away with the creativity. We have a proliferation of young entrepreneurs, you
Mm-hmm.
know, from digital marketers to content creators, to um, voices of products, and it's just to sit back and watch that now, it's just like, wow, I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. And I see people pursuing their dreams and not going that traditional route of just existing, just
Mm.
existing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Life is more than just existing, you know. I often say when I'm doing, seminars and public speaking appearances, I don't know anybody who's ever said they want to grow up and be a garbage man. Now, I'm not knocking garbage men because they play an important role in this society,
Mm-hmm.
but no one ever says that. You don't plan for that. You don't say, I'm going to take some sanitation classes, or no. They got to open and you apply for the job, you go and you do it,
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
bless them. Again, not knocking anybody, but it's, what else are you doing? Now, if you're content to do your 9 to 5 or whatever, and you've got your little picket fence and a garden in your backyard, and bless you, you know. But so many people have these other desires. They have
Mm-hmm.
these other dreams, and they aren't pursuing them. They aren't realizing them because of fear.
Mm.
Fear. Fear of failure
Mm-hmm.
and fear of success.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also say
And
FUD.
it's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to break that mold because we are creatures of habit. So once we get a habit, I get
Mm-hmm.
up, I go to work, I pay my bills, I come home. It's hard to change that. It's hard to say, okay, I get up, I go to work, I come home, I work on my own business. I work on my projects. I work on the next chapter of my life. It was
Mm-hmm.
hard when I left corporate America and decided to go into the entertainment industry. I'm in this big old house in Bowie. I'm driving a vet. I got all this disposable income. I got all the toys. And it's like, I got to give this up. I got to move. I got to downsize. I got to get a
Mm-hmm.
hoopty. You know, because I can't afford that as a struggling actor, as a struggling performer, and it put a strain
Yep.
on my relationship. My marriage failed because of it. Um,
Mm.
I got evicted from my apartment. You know, I had to go on public assistance. To feed myself and to have some type of insurance or something from a medical standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you work through it, and you work your way up, and you keep your eyes on the prize, to get where you want to be at. But that's all part of putting skin in the game.
Mm. And it, and
Mm-hmm.
when you look
Absolutely. And
at
I
that,
tell when I talk to young people, oh,
now go ahead, Tia.
go ahead, Michael.
Now you got it. You go ahead. Go
No, I
ahead,
was just
Tia.
going to say when I talk to young people, I talk to when I speak in general, I'm always talking about two things. Number one is the balance.
Mm-hmm.
Number one is balance. If you are working at Taco Bell and you're supposed to be on Wall Street, I need you to get to Wall Street. If you're working on Wall Street and you were supposed to be managing a sanitation department, I need you to get to the sanitation department. To me, everybody has a role to play in this world. And I have my sister, for instance,
Right.
supposed to be a mortician. She has not, she looked into it like 20 years ago and has not. And I'm like, you have the world off balance because you're not doing what you were called to do. And the second thing is the
Yep.
sacrifice. You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
miss stuff. You're gonna struggle. You're gonna do all of this stuff, but you will have peace because you're doing what you're supposed to do and you're walking in your purpose.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's
Now,
hard. It's hard for young people to understand that because, especially when you're in your 20s and you're trying to pursue a career in the entertainment industry. And, it's all great and good when you start out, but, 5, 6, 7 years in, and you're still struggling. And meanwhile, you're watching all your friends pair off and they start getting married and they're buying houses and cars and having kids and going on vacation, and you're still trying to figure out where your next meal is going to come from, it's hard. It's hard, but that is what is required. You're living the life of an artist. And unfortunately, that's the way it needs to be. But, you got to get a side hustle. You got to get something that, is going to give you some income. I mean, you look at Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry went broke, what, 3 times while he was doing his plays? And, and they were failures. And he would go back to work and he would save up his money. He would do it again. And then it would fail again. And he would go back to work. He would save up his money and he would do it again. So he was working, but he was working for a purpose, and now look where he's at. It's paid off, and you hear these stories all the time. You got to hang in there, but you got to have a plan. I like to tell people it's called show business. Business is the bigger word.
Yeah.
So you must have a strategic plan to get you from point A to point B. And markets like the DMV here, which are very different from, a major market like a New York or LA or something like that, it's very hard to find projects, and you wind up in this hustle mode. And that hustle mode is, you're doing a lot of non-union jobs, and you might be making $200 here, or $500 here, and if you get enough of those, you're paying your bills.
Right.
And you feel like, oh, I'm doing something. But, lately I've been telling folks there has to be a pivot. There has to be a pivot at some point where you go from quantity to quality.
Absolutely.
From quantity to quality. So instead of doing those 20 jobs, at $200 a piece, you get one job that pays you $20,000. But how do you get that? How do you get that? Okay. And the pivot is you got to realize that there's a ceiling in the entertainment industry. And you've got to burst through that ceiling. And that ceiling is getting proper representation. And folks think, oh, well, and they'll name local casting directors or somebody. So and so reps me. No, they do not rep you. They're a casting director. They do not represent you. You are part of their database. They work for the production company. They work for the studio. All right. And they will call you in, but the major jobs, the speaking roles, the principal roles for a national commercial, for a video game, for animation, TV shows and so forth are always going to come through an agent. Okay. So at some point in time, you must shift your focus from that hustle mode of just getting work. I must find representation. And not just any representation. You got to find good representation. Agents are just like actors. A-list, B-list, C-list, D-list. And you can start out with a D agent, but you go so far with them and then you got to find somebody else. Right. And then you go so far with them and then you got to find somebody else. And you got to keep working your way up the totem pole to get the opportunity to audition for the big projects. Okay. So if you want to be co-starring in the next movie with Tom Cruise, that ain't going to be on Backstage. It's not going to be on Actors Access. Okay. You're not going to see it posted on a site somewhere. Those sites are, yes, for you to get experience. They're there for you to get to fill in the white spaces on your resume to make yourself presentable to an agent. Those agents are the gatekeepers. They're above that ceiling, and once you burst through, that's when you're able to start, getting these larger projects. And here's the funny thing. COVID has been a game changer. COVID has changed the whole game. and people don't understand that. 3 years ago, if I wanted to be on Law and Order, I had to go to New York to audition. Okay. If I wanted to do an animation, I had to fly to California. Okay, because that's where the animation companies are at. So when COVID came and it took the industry to a screeching halt, okay, it changed the dynamic. And the dynamic was we started using our technology to meet the purposes of auditioning. Zoom. We started Zooming auditions. People started recording their auditions, MP4s, and submitting them to their agents, which people were doing before, but they were the opportunities were pretty few and far between.
Right.
But now all of a sudden, you don't need to be in New York. You don't need to be in Atlanta. You don't need to be in LA. Agents don't even ask you anymore. It used to be, well, where are you located? They don't care. They don't care. Once you do the audition, okay, we're filming in Toronto. Here's a plane ticket. Fly to Toronto.
Right.
Do your stuff. Go back home. Yeah. So, COVID has been the game changer that has basically opened up the entire world to us as talent. Being a voice actor, having my own studio, here in my house, I can work in Great Britain. I can work in the Middle East. I can work in Asia. I can work in California. I'm doing a new video game on Wednesday. I can't say what it is.
Yeah, I know. Congratulations to
Yeah,
you again.
can't say what it is.
Congratulations.
And got that NDA on me. But this is a huge game. PlayStation 4, PS5, Switch, all of them. And I'm going to be recording it right here. And the talent needs to understand that. They need to understand that now the whole world has become your playground. You don't have to just limit yourself to the casting directors here in the DMV. You can submit to the casting directors in Chicago, or Atlanta, or find an agent there, an agent who is going to represent you, you know. So the whole world is now viable because of technology and because of this disease, that is actually something good has come out of it. Because I used to say, for years, I used to ask my agents, well, why do I need to go all the way up to New York for a 15-minute audition? Can I just record it at home and send it to them? And they're like, no.
Right.
Right.
Dang. 4 hours on the bus up, catch a cab, get to the studio, do 15 minutes for, a commercial, get back on a, bus, go 8 hours, just to do 15 minutes. It was ridiculous, but that's what you had to do to play the game, but now it's so simple. It's unreal. My wife is in the industry also, and she just picked up two agents,
Wow.
and is getting ready to do her first animation for HBO.
Okay.
It's going to be a recurring character
Wow.
for an animated show on HBO. All right here at home. All right here at home.
And so
Wow.
let me ask you this, because I know a lot of people are sitting there like, well, how do I set up my own studio at home? What do I need to do? Because, everybody's not technical as some of us are,
Well, I have a slogan for that. And I tell people, you only need to know what you need to know when you need to know it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
So yes, you there is a learning curve in setting up your home studio, making sure that you have the correct sound suppression in your home. But most people, the vast majority of people who are doing voiceovers and working from home, build a studio in their closet. Your clothes act as a natural buffer for sound, and then if you need some additional stuff, you put up some moving blankets. I mean, it's a hodgepodge. You can build a studio at home for $200. Just materials that you can get from Guitar Center, or you can order online. It doesn't take that much. In regards to editing, yeah, there's some technical aspects, but you only need to learn the 7 things that you need to know to edit a file. That's it.
Okay.
7 things. So
What are they?
people look at these software platforms. What are they?
Yeah, what are they?
Okay. Okay, so when you record a file is usually going to be a mono file. So the first thing you want to do is change it from a mono to a stereo.
Correct.
Once it's a stereo, you want to normalize it. Once you normalize it, you add dynamic processing. After you do dynamic processing, you do parametric equalizing on the file. Then you go back and you normalize it again. After you normalize it again, then you put a hard limiter on it of about -3 dB. Boom.
Right. What about
You have a
compression?
professional sound. You,
And there you go.
I had to mess with you.
I
depending on
couldn't
how
even
you
write it
want
all
the
down. I
file,
was like,
as an MP3 or a WAV file, most people want it compressed.
Yeah.
So you're going to have it as an MP3.
Well, no, I'm talking about compression
Some
as
people,
in the audio compression, not the file format, but a compressor as we do in radio, as we do. I think like you're hearing me now.
all of that
I'm under
all of
I have
that
a
is in
compression.
those. All that is in those settings.
Yeah.
It's all in there. I tell people like
oh,
this:
wow.
when you go to your car and you turn your car on,
Mm-hmm.
do you know everything that happens when you turn that ignition? The electricity
Most.
goes to this wire, it goes here to the engine combusts, the gasoline goes in, creates a controlled explosion in your
Right.
engine that powers the pistons. That you know all of that? No.
Most people
All
don't
you
know.
know is when I turn that key, it's supposed to come on. All
Right.
right. And that's the same thing. You learn what you need to know. You don't need to understand all the principles. You just need to understand, I need to get this file to sound like this and look like this, and these are the steps that I need to take. And once you do that, you're good to go. You're
Okay.
good to go for an audition, or even for you to send in. You're going to clean it up a little bit. Take out your breaths. Any pops, whistles, clicks, anything like that. But that's the same as highlighting and deleting a word in Word in a Word file.
Yeah.
You highlight, you delete.
You start
Yeah,
editing your text and stuff. Yeah, you got to learn to edit. You have to.
Just the basic. That's the basic stuff that you need to know. Okay, and once you know that basic stuff, now you're able to work in this industry. Nobody is saying that you have to be an audio engineer.
Mm-hmm.
You're not mixing 24 channels. You're not adding in music and sound effects. You're not doing all that. You're just doing pure
Right.
voice stuff for audition purposes, you know. And the entities that may be recording you or you providing just want to make sure your quality is good, and you don't have any ambient noise, in the room, dogs barking, kids crying, HVAC going,
Right.
and you're good. And the vast majority of folks who said it couldn't be done are doing it. My audio book publisher told me that.
Mm-hmm.
Years before COVID, I was like, hey, I'm thinking about moving to LA. I still want to work with you guys. Can I do it remotely? And they're like, no, it doesn't work. And the sound doesn't match up. And I haven't been in the studio in 2.5 years. I have not been into their actual studio in 2.5 years. So I just record from
Wow.
home. I do everything at home. So it can be done. It can be done. And entities are doing it every day. I did the ESPN college football promo commercial right here in my home. Right here in my home. They dial into
Wow.
my system through Source Connect, and I didn't even have to record. They recorded everything. All I had to do was talk.
Mm-hmm. See,
Oh,
and
wow.
I think that's the important thing, is to understand, what you need to understand. Like me, I'm a technical guy. Everything about sound, everything. I started off in music, and stuff. So I get the sound part because I know how important it is to video production. But I'm a tech guy. I'm the guy that says, hey, you need to know what works in a computer and why it does what it does, because you got to repair it, you got to fix it, you got to do this and that and the third, or you need to know what's messing up so it can get repaired or whatever. So that works for a person like me, to understand how the car works and all that, because I was the guy at the motor pool with my dad working on the car. So, but everybody else, that isn't their thing, but I always tend to tell people, you need to understand the industry you're going in. And the first side I usually try to get people to understand is first understand the business of the industry, because you can learn an art. But if you don't understand the business.
Yes. So Michael, let me touch on that.
Mm-hmm.
It is a shame that the kids that are coming out of these BFA programs are not being taught the business of the entertainment industry. I have spoken to kids all over the country who have graduated with degrees in theater or performing arts or whatever, and I go, did your professors teach you the business side of the industry? And they're like, no. They told us we have to figure that out on our own. For all that money you just paid and went into debt for, they're telling you have to figure this out. Let me say this to anybody who's watching and listening. You have to understand that the entertainment industry is not about entertaining you. It is about generating revenue, whether it is a commercial, whether it is theater, whether it is TV, film, on network, cable, or streaming service. There is a revenue or dollar amount that is attached to that project, and you must understand that. You can have the best produced show in the world, but if nobody is watching it, it will be canceled. It will be dropped. It will be discontinued. Okay? The box office. You can sink 300 million into a film, and if they don't get their money back, it is a flop.
Right.
And you probably won't be starring in the next project that comes out because people are not coming to see you. Okay? So you have to understand the business side of what we do, and it's all about revenue generation. And you have to position yourself accordingly. If you are auditioning for a commercial, okay, and people get all caught up in the performance side. How am I going to do this character? No. How are you going to sell that product? Okay. How are you going to sell that product? If you're selling dish detergent, who is your target audience? What is the demographic? Okay. That determines the voice that you're going to use in the audition to communicate to these individuals. And if you aren't doing that, you're doing a disservice to yourself. Okay. Because you are a salesman. Yeah, you're on TV, but you're a salesman. So you have to sell that product, and you have to have the right voice to sell that product. The same voice that you would use to sell Tide Pods is not the same voice that you would use to sell a Porsche.
Right.
Different demographic. Okay. You got to understand that. And if you understand that, it helps you determine how you are going to communicate with your audience. And that's all part of the business side. When a company says we want to do a commercial, what do? They go to an advertising agency and they say, hey, produce this commercial for us. They do the spec commercial. What do? They bring in a focus group. We would like for you to watch this commercial and rate it on its appeal, entertainment value, and whether or not you like people who are in it. And they're looking at the scores. They're doing the math. It's a business. And when the scores get up high enough, then they go back and present it to their client. And then their client says yay or nay, and then they go and record the commercial and put it out. But they're telling them right off the bat, this spot tested very well between the 18 and 25 demographic of, professionals who are, it's like they're giving you the sign,
right.
But all we look at is, I'm going to be in a commercial. I'm going to be on TV. You got to understand the business side of what's going on,
But I think people are more caught up on the results versus the process, right? We look on, our friend was on TV, he's on Burger King commercial. What got you there? What's the process?
Right.
How do you negotiate your contracts? What is your agent's job? Your agent's job is to get you a job.
Yep.
They don't get paid unless you get a job. People are like, oh, I had to pay my agent up front. That's not your agent.
People don't understand the role of the manager, the agent, and the casting director. And I tell people you must understand what their role is. You must look out for the scams that are out there. There's plenty of people who are scamming. Oh, you need to pay me. No, you don't get any money. You know, a talent agent is just like a temp agency.
Right.
So if you went to go do temp office work, you don't pay the temp company before they get you a job. You don't. So it's the same thing with your agent. You don't pay them any. You know, they get paid when you get paid.
Right.
You know, so you need to educate yourself. And it's a shame because all of this information is at our fingertips. You know, we have these little things called our phones, which are attached to the internet. And all you have to do is ask the question. And I tell my clients that all the time. Ask the question.
But they don't.
Well, how do I find an agent? Ask the question. You know, educate yourself. If there was a tried and true method to find an agent, everybody would do it. There are different ways. Sometimes they see you in a showcase. Sometimes they see you in a play. Sometimes it is due to you reaching out to them with a cold communication, an email or a phone call. Sometimes it's at an open call. You know, sometimes it's in a workshop or class. You know, it's a lot of different ways to find somebody to rep you. You know, but you have to at some point in time say, this is a goal. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do all of those things to see if I can get proper representation. But in the meanwhile, I am going to network and foster relationships with other entities in the entertainment industry, which are the casting directors and the production companies and the producers who can also put you, you know, in projects where you can ultimately be seen and picked up by you know, a good agent. But that's all part of your strategic business plan, you know, and you should have a strategic business plan and you should have goals. You should set those goals. I know when I started acting, I said I wanted every casting director in the DMV to know me by face, when I walked in the room. So if I walked into Carlin Davis was like, "Hey, James, how you doing?" Without looking at my headshot. "Hey, Carlin, how are you? How's the family?" "Oh, the family's good. You know, did you get the problem with your dog taken care of?" You have a, you know, you have a relationship. Yeah, you know, and that comes from being vetted. Okay. And the vetting process is one where basically they're going, "You're okay. You know, you come in, you audition well, you have a great work ethic, you are on time for your jobs, you are prepared, you know your lines when you get there, you have a great attitude on set. You're okay." Which means that I don't have a problem submitting you for stuff because I know you're going to do the job. There are people, I have been on set where people didn't show up, who were principal folk who didn't show up locally in the DMV, who were cast to be in a role, and all of a sudden they weren't there. And the, you know, the producer and director's like, "Well, call the agent," and they're calling them. "What happened?" "Well, she said she couldn't get off from work today." This was your work. Okay. They don't care about your 9 to 5. You know, and you weren't professional enough to pick up the phone and call and say, "I can't make it," or had an emergency. I mean, I would never tell anybody, "Oh, I couldn't get off from work." You know, I'd be like, "Oh man, you know, my auntie and my uncle and 3 of my kids all had heart attacks, and I'm at the hospital." I'm gonna make some kind of crazy story. You know,
okay.
I am not gonna tell them, "Hey, I couldn't get on work." You know, this is work for them. This is their job. This is their profession.
But
You
that
know,
tells
how dare you do that?
that tells how serious people are or
Exactly.
aren't.
Exactly.
Because even when I did a film,
Yeah.
I had an
Right.
actor
And that
call
person
me
will
and say,
never
"Hey,
work again."
I can't be there because I got to walk the dog." And I was like, "Wait, what?"
See,
Shut up. I know you lying. I know
And
you
so,
lying.
you know, and I like, "You got to walk your dog." Yeah. I said, "Well, you got other people on set waiting on you, man. You got me and other people." And they were like, I said, "You should have got somebody to walk your dog. You knew you had to be here." You know, and because they
exactly.
felt comfortable. But see,
Right.
again, I look back, is that person acting today? You know, and I look at
Exactly.
how serious are you about what you're trying to do?
And
Because
That's
that's why production companies and casting directors and agents are so leery, about bringing people in, because they need to vet you. They need to make sure that that's not going to happen, because that's their name, that's their reputation. They brought you to this project and you're not being professional. That's a stain on them, you know. So, people need to
yep.
understand that, if you want to do this and you just want to do it for play, okay, i.e., yeah, hey, I don't mind doing some stuff, and I'm good, then fine, okay, but stay in your lane. Don't try and get a co-starring role on a TV show that's going to require you to, move to, South Dakota to film when you can't move to South Dakota. All right, don't go. But also, if this is something that you want to do and you're serious about it, understand that you have to be vetted. You have to go through some stuff. People have to see that they can depend on you, that they can call on you, that you're going to do the job, you're going to be there, you're going to be on time, great work ethic, you know, and do what needs to be done. TK, I think you were just saying you were on set for quite some time the other day. People got to understand that this ain't going to be 8
14
hours.
hours.
14, 16.
They actually signed up for 12
I
hours.
remember I was
That's the funny thing. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So don't complain about it. You knew the job was dangerous when you took it.
That part.
Bro.
That part.
Because it is like people, I have to tell people when we're filming or shooting, don't plan anything that day. Like, you got a barbecue to go to, then guess what? You might not make it. Be okay with not making it. But if you get off a set in the time being, or it works out fine. But please never, you don't have anything more important than the current project you're working on. Unless somebody is dying or in an accident and you really got to get there because you can help. But you need to be focused. No, for real, because I used to have kids. Yeah, I had kids be like, "I need my cell phone, Mr. Melvin, because my house might catch on." Can you go put it out? No, there's nothing you can do.
That's right. Yep.
So guess what? You don't need it right now. You need to focus on the moment. And because that's the thing in this industry, if you don't focus in on the moment, you might lose your chance or opportunity, because if your brain's everywhere else, how are you giving the best to that character, to that voice, to that scene?
I've seen people fired on set, literally fired because they weren't prepared. They came in, didn't know their lines, couldn't do whatever, and they got fired. I've seen people's jobs be given to other folk who were there. I remember I was doing some training stuff for the Internal Revenue Service, and I was only supposed to be there a couple of hours, and this thing was just dragging on and on and on. The director kept coming out, and he was like, "James, I'm so sorry," but whoever their talent was, she couldn't get through the lines. Okay, and it was on a teleprompter. So I'm like, "You're reading it, not like you had to memorize it. It's on the teleprompter. You're reading it." And she just kept messing up all morning, all morning. It was just take after take after take. And they for lunch. And I wasn't even supposed to be there, but as you said, I knew I was working that day. Nothing else is planned, because you never know what's going to happen. So at lunch, they said, "Well, look, we're gonna go ahead and scoot you in and come back to her." So they scoop me in. I knock out I'm like, boom, knock it out. And all of a sudden, you know, my headphones and stuff go silent. And I'm looking at them in the booth and I'm seeing this conversation going on. You know, and like, what the heck? And they're like, James, you got anything planned for the rest of the day? I'm like, no, I'm good. Yeah, we're going to give you all the lines the other girl was supposed to do, and we're going to fire her. And literally, they fired her, sent her home, and I took over all her spots and did all her stuff too.
And you save them time and money.
It happens, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. What people don't understand, it's like you got to take it so serious enough that you're good at your craft. Because, you know, and so let me ask you this, James, because I didn't get a chance to ask this, and I know we gonna wrap up soon. What training did you take or go through?
None.
Oh boy, what?
None. I had no formal training. I never studied acting. I've never taken an acting class. I have a philosophy.
Okay.
My philosophy towards acting is tapping into my inner child. I say that acting is not hard as long as you believe it here and here. If you believe it, okay? When you watch a child at play, cops and robbers, cowboys and Indians, superheroes and supervillains, you know, that little boy who's standing there with his hands on his hips and the towel tucked in his shirt, you know, and he's standing there with his chin up and he feels that he is Superman. He believes that he is Superman. And then when you see him jump off the rock and he's running through the neighborhood with his hand out and he's, you know, because he's flying, you know, he believes it in his mind. And you know he's pretending, but there is a sincerity to what he is doing because he believes it. Okay. And to me, that is the essence of acting. So when I am on set, when I'm in the booth and I'm portraying a character, I become that character. Okay. And I know there's some technique that they call that. I don't know if it's method acting or whatever.
And stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's just my philosophy on being a character. If I'm the villain, I'm the villain. Okay. And everything I do, I'm going to do in the mindset of the villain. And that's what I do. That to me, it is tapping into my inner child, and I'm playing. I'm that kid in the neighborhood that's playing this role, and that's what I'm going. I mean, we've seen so much TV, we've seen so much film, we've seen so much performance content. You kind of know what you need to do to be this character or how that character is going to be, you know, to introduce, you know, elements to it. And that's our job. That's our job as the performer to bring those words on that white sheet of paper to life. And that is whether it is the tone of our voice, the inflection, the pace, the speed, the delivery. I mean, how many people do we know in our lives? So you get the script and they say, you know, you are, you know, Uncle Junie at the barbecue. All right. Well, everybody got an Uncle Junie from the bar. You know, Uncle Junie's gonna be that one that barbecue. He gonna have that cigarette hanging right there in his mouth. He gonna be come on over here, boy. So you create the character and you become that character and you stay in that character. Okay, it's very liberating. Actually, it's very freeing from an emotional standpoint because you get to be something that you're normally not. You know, but you must not think acting. That's when you lose the sincerity. We've all seen people on a TV show or a movie, and you go, that person is horrible. They can't act their way out of a paper bag. It's the sincerity is not there because they're trying to act like they're that character instead of being that character. So you lose the sincerity of their performance. And I heard Pat Moran say it one time, and she said, "I can see you acting. You should
Yeah.
not be able to see the person acting." I did a stage play where I had to play this abusive husband. And I remember my mother-in-law came to the stage play, and she said, "When you stepped out on stage, I saw you. I saw James." She said, "But after 5 minutes, I didn't see you anymore.
Mm.
Wow.
Mannerisms, the walk, the speech were all not me. They were this other character,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And when people would come up to me after the stage play, to talk to me or whatever, and they were just like, "You're nothing like that character." And I go, "No, I was acting." And that's how it should be. It's not me. It's not me. That's not me.
Yep.
That's somebody and something else.
That's awesome.
So that I have very, very little training. Very, very little.
I tend to push people towards training, especially if I see that
Mhm.
they don't know their lines, they don't have a method of memorizing, understanding their movement to do stuff. Then I push them. But you're already saying, because earlier you said, hey, when I did the homeless film, I researched it because I was with them. So you start
Oh,
to
I do my
understand that.
research.
Yeah.
Yeah. You must educate you
Mm-hmm.
must educate you in any profession. You must understand what you're doing. Um, and the training part, when I say I don't have a lot of training, I don't sit in a classroom and
Mm-hmm.
somebody spoon feeds me stuff. I've researched
Right.
countless hours on techniques and what to do and how to do. I learn best by me absorbing things on my own. And I
Okay.
found that if I'm in a
Mm-hmm.
classroom, it doesn't go fast enough for me. I need to know what I need to know right now. So answer this question. Okay, now answer this question. Okay, now give me this. That's all I need to know right now.
Mm-hmm.
If I need something else, then I'll go back and I'll pull that up. Some people need to be in the classroom for fear,
Mm-hmm.
insecurities and so forth, but all of the things that you learn, your blocking, how to find your light, your camera angles, all those things can be learned on set. If you're doing background work or extra work or something like that, that's not a time for you to just sit back and chill.
Mm-hmm.
That's a time for
Right.
you to be sitting there and learning and observing. What are the principal actors doing? How are they doing their scenes? How are they doing the different takes? If you're doing a multi-angle shoot, and it's you and this person, okay, well, I know that they're going to do a wide shot, then I know they're going to do an over the shoulder shot for that person. Then they're going to do an over the shoulder
Mm-hmm.
shot for me. All that's going to happen. Okay. So it's not, oh, I'm just going to come in and nail it and do it in one take. Okay. All right. That's the wide shot. Set up for it,
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to go back to your trailer and sit there for another 2 hours while they reset the lights and move the dollies and the cameras, and so they can do the over the shoulder shot this way and do your close ups. Okay. Now we got those done. Oh, back to your trailer again so they can flip it around the other way. So you know when you get on set that this is going to happen constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if you know that everything I did in that first wide shot, I need to recreate when I'm doing my close up. So if I'm holding a pencil in my hand or I'm drinking a thing of juice, the timing needs to be perfect. It needs to be the same. It needs to be all the same movements. I can't be doing this in the wide shot. And then when you go to the close up, I'm doing this.
Right.
Because you're going to say, wait a minute. And we've seen it happen in films, where it doesn't match up the takes,
Continuity issues. Yeah.
Yes.
or some, right, or continuity issues. So as an actor, you have to be conscious of that, in your movement. But going and being on set or being part of a theater production or, something where the focus is not on you is when you can really sit back and be that fly on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's how they do that. Oh, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you learn. And that's how I learned. That's how I learned the industry, by doing industrials and local commercials and I watched and learned, and I got to the point where I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we finished Are we getting ready to do my over the shoulder? Yeah, we are. I'm like, all right. And I knew I had, 45 minutes to an hour to 2 hours to go and kill, before they be ready to shoot again. So you learn the
Mm-hmm.
industry, and what you have to do from that regard without just sitting in a classroom and being told, because there's always theory and then there's application,
Mm.
and that theory might not always work when you get in the real world. So it's learning, to keep your head on a swivel, but to understand how the industry works and what you need to do. Finding your light, finding your mark. If you're moving in a scene, you can't deviate, because that camera, that focal point is they've set it so that you can move from here to here. You can't do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can't move closer. You can't improvise, because now you're fuzzy and you're not in focus, because they didn't account for that. So it's things like that you have to know.
Yeah, because I used to try to tell actors it's good to learn what everyone else is doing around you, so you can understand how hard it is their jobs are. Because you're focused on acting, but you got your sound person. They got to focus on recording you. So if you move the wrong way, they're following you with that boom. Your lighting has to be set up a certain way. So you have to understand, and that's not an easy thing, because once you set them lights, back in the day, we were using tungstens and stuff. So them lights was hot. You had to have gloves on and everything. You ain't just moving them however. And then, of course, then you're looking at, the camera. The camera is everything's blocked already. So the moment you change, you can also make another actor upset, because you block their shot and their moment and take it away. So you have to understand those things. And that's why I'm always like, hey, you need to understand what's happening around you. It's not just about you. It's an orchestrated ensemble that brings together this beautiful image. But if you don't play your part, it's like the guy hitting the triangle at the wrong time. It doesn't see well.
It's the balance. Everything is.
Yeah. So before we go, I'm actually going to run your reel. Is that cool with you, James? I want everybody to see James's acting reel. And here we go. I'm going to go over here. I don't know why I'm there. I need to. Why are you showing me? There we go. All right, here we go.
My client was assaulted, tied up, and robbed by Officer Franks in her home. Detective, I can't speak to the mental state of this officer, but what I do know is that he is a criminal, and he needs to be locked up as soon as possible. Well, maybe I should go to the press since you're having such a hard time swallowing this. Has this officer even been questioned?
We run investigations every day.
Well, I would suggest you have this officer verify his whereabouts during the time that my client was assaulted. You do that.
Rich, dude, I'm so glad you came. You want to go out and get a little coffee?
No, let's just get this over with now.
Get it over with?
Yeah. Paul, we're gonna have to cut you off.
Look, you're my only client, okay? I can't, just a couple more months. Just give me just a few more months, because I'm coming back.
Can't do it, buddy. Can't do it. You're still radioactive in this town.
Tell me about it. I just got my check returned from the Correspondents Association.
Yeah, well, consider yourself lucky. Usually, money from disreputable sources is given to charity.
Unbelievable. 20 years hard work, trading favors on the Hill, and poof, one thing. I do one thing.
I know.
Okay?
I know. I understand. Look, Paul.
It's not my fault.
I know it wasn't your fault. But nobody wants to be seen eating lunch next to a loser. Well, take it easy. Nah, he's right. School gets a certain amount of money for each kid that shows up one day in September and one day in October.
One day?
After that, they don't lose the government money. So we done with it.
Nah, man. School is school.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to school you, brother. All right. Which one of y'all still needs your September day? Get it over with now. We won't be messing with y'all later.
Right. I'll be the range safety officer. I've had the training.
Sergeant Benjamin, you worked a zero range last year, didn't you?
Yep. Piece of cake.
Good, you're the zero man.
I always thought Benjamin was a zero.
Morales, Brown, Grasso, you're working the line. You know the drill.
Oh, there we go. So that was
And we're back. Cool.
actor James Lewis's reel. Actually, he has more than that on his YouTube page, by the way. So a lot of his work. Check the video games out. If you're playing Fallout 3, you'll hear him. He can't tell you the new game, but hey, when it comes out, they'll let you know. Buy the game. Yeah, I got a PlayStation 5.
I will.
So. There's plenty of audiobooks you can be listening to and hearing his wonderful voice. Listen, so we're going to do the 60-second Jewel. It's a bit of information to inspire fellow filmmakers, actors, people who are looking to get into the industry. James, is there anything, a jewel you would like to drop, a little gem?
Come up with a strategic plan and manifest it into the real world. Write it down. Write down your goals and set times for those goals. So if you want to get an agent, I'm going to have an agent within the next 6 months. And every day you need to be doing something to get towards that goal. And you'll be surprised at how far along in your career you'll get when you when you write this down, you can see it, it's tangible, and you set time frames for getting things done, and you do something towards that goal every day.
Thank you, brother James. That's write it down, make it plain right there. That's biblical. I always try to tell people, you ain't got a written plan, you ain't got a plan.
You don't. It's just an idea in your head. Yeah,
Yep.
you got to manifest it.
Thank you very much, sir. TK, what is your 160-second jewel?
Every week, I'm like, what? I think I'll just piggyback off something James said in regards to commitment. If you commit to a project, show up prepared. We were literally on set last night watching this principal character. One of the principal characters, he kind of kept flaking his line, so he had his little paper. And then the main principal character, one of the main roles, she could not get this piece of choreography down. Everybody in the audience knew we knew the choreography.
Wow.
I'm not kidding you. But they kept cutting around her. I'm literally saying, Crystal, you got this, girl. I'm literally talking to the lady. You got this. Because she could not remember this one little piece of the choreography. And it was like, oh my God. And we were already there for 12, 14 hours. And then you cannot remember your stuff. So when you commit, show up prepared, and get the job done. Do a job well done. What's the point of you being there if you're not going to do a good job?
Thank you, TK.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And so I'm going to escape the 60-second jewel and just simply repeat this as of always. In order to benefit, you must be beneficial. Keep that in mind. In order to benefit, you must be beneficial. So don't think you're going to walk in a room and get everything out of it and you're not giving anything. And as a teacher, like I tell my students, you never give anything less than your very best. No matter what it is you're doing, it could be the job you don't want to do. You don't be the worst at taking out the trash, because you might be the one picking it up because you didn't close the bag because you were too lazy to do your best job.
Yep.
So never give anything less than your very best. And in order to benefit, you must be beneficial. So I like to say, thank you, Mr. James Lewis, my brother, for being on here. What's up?
Let me add one thing for those of you who are interested in getting into the voiceover industry. I do coaching. I do private coaching. Or if you need to find out how to build your studio, or if you're in the DMV, well, not just in the DMV, because I've worked with some people out in LA recently. If you build your studio, I can produce a demo for you remotely. But if you're interested in getting in contact with me, you can go to my webpage, which is www www.talktimevo, Victor Oliver, talktimevo.com. And you can, there's links on there to get equipment. There's information on there about getting a demo produced, or if you just want to hit me up, just call me in my studio and I'll be more than happy to talk to you about the industry and what you need to do to become a working voice actor. www.talktimevo.com.
There you go. And we'll actually, let's hold up. www.
Oh, put it in the chat. Yeah.
Yep. TimeVO.com. Boom. It is up there in the chat on the thing. So you can just click on the link and go right to it. Talktimevo.com, correct?
Yep.
There we go. It's people like, great to know. Yeah, we put the website in. And again, you know, we'll put the link to his YouTube channel as well in there. So you guys can go visit that because his phone number is in that too as well and it's real. And you connect with James, y'all. Listen, again, the Black Filmmakers Lounge, we are about building networks. Your network is your net worth. People keep forgetting that. You know, there's this thing I saw yesterday. You first have to learn so you can take away the L so you can earn. So if you learn, you can earn.
There you go.
And so if we're thinking about
there
it,
you go.
it's a business first. This is before anything else. This film industry, we call it industry for a reason. I keep trying to tell people the words in front of the word business is usually an adjective. Business is business. Learn the business. Talent, skills, you can learn those along the way also. But if you don't understand the business, you won't be able to negotiate and you'll always get taken by people. Because they know you don't know. When they start talking and you don't know, they look at each other like, oh, we got one here. He's green. Let's get So awareness is very important. So we like to thank you guys for joining us at the Black Filmmakers Lounge Saturday morning in the industry shop talk. I'm your host, Michael Melvin, my host, TaMyra TK Henderson, and our special guest, Mr. James Lewis. Thank you, James. We appreciate you for coming and hanging out with us and the wisdom and information because everybody's like, yeah. And we're so sorry we didn't do a Q&A, but people were like, just keep talking. So you were answering questions with your wisdom.
You can always have me come back.
Oh, definitely. We'll definitely have you come back. So we like to thank you guys. Remember, the Black Filmmakers Lounge is where independent filmmakers, whether novice or professionals, come together to learn an insight perspective through education, information, networking, and a discussion of industry best practices that will advance you in the Black independent film community. So keep it together. Thank you for joining us. Y'all have a blessed and wonderful Saturday. And we out. Peace.
All right, guys. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Share. Like, subscribe, share. Sorry.
Like, subscribe, share. Don't forget to follow our YouTube page as we're trying to build it. Thank you, Derwin. Thank you, everybody. Yvonne, all you guys for hanging out with us. Tone, everybody, and peace.